The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. The hardest part about learning a language has never been the actual learning of the language. Instead, it's forcing myself to do this activity every day. Surprisingly, it's not my long-term motivation that's the problem. It's actually my short-term motivation. I love this activity, but just like in my college classes, I procrastinate and don't put in the time that I should. Last year, I read the book Digital Minimalism, and it inspired me to eliminate distractions, use the internet smarter, and overall become a better language learner. The methods and ideas I talk about in this video aren't necessarily specific to language learning. They can be used for general productivity, work, and study. Also, all the apps and extensions I recommend in this video are free and not sponsored. Importance. In our life, we like to think of important things as mandatory and non-important things as optional. Working and eating are important, while browsing Instagram and hanging out with friends are not important. However, I believe that everything that you choose to do is because it's important to you. Going to your job? Important. Flossing your teeth? Important. Mindlessly browsing Instagram for 3 hours a day? Important. No matter how busy I am, I always manage to do Anki every single day because that 1100-day streak is important to me. But choosing to not learn languages when I do have the time is because that other things are simply more important, and that has to change. You make time for the things that are important to you. That quote changes everything when it comes to decision making. Community. Comparing yourself to more successful people can be demotivating and jealousy inducing. Comparison is a thief of joy, but it also has the potential of motivating you to get as good as them or even surpass them. Talking to other language learners, watching success stories, and generally being involved with a community can help with motivation. Aside from browsing language learning subreddits, I really don't talk to many language learners, and I rarely even watch language learning YouTube videos. Maybe I'm the type of person who doesn't want to be a false language learner, who spends too much time looking at videos on language learning instead of actually doing the language learning. Nevertheless, I should still take my own advice here. Now, it's easy to disregard the ideas I just talked about, but it's a lot harder to ignore physical systems that you put in place in order to motivate you to be productive. So what do I recommend? Spreadsheet. For the first 5 years of language learning, I never tracked any of my time, but in July of 2022, I started this Google Sheets page where I log all of my hours. Visualizing my hours means that having empty spaces or zeros is not satisfying. Additionally, by making this page public, anyone can see it, and that discourages me from bailing out on the system. I encourage you, make one of these pages and have a family member or someone close to you regularly check on it. Personal accountability is very powerful. Streak. If you've seen any of my most popular videos, then you'll know that I'm a very big fan of streaks. I actually had a 500-day Duolingo streak before I even started using Anki. Not that I really recommend using Duolingo, that's a topic for another day. If a streak for Anki made me use that program every day, then surely some sort of streak formula for Google Sheets would motivate me to log my progress every day, right? However, it was astounding how hard it was to find a daily streak formula for Google Sheets. After days of scraping the internet and literally having to go to the second page of Google, I finally found a streak formula that resets my streak if I have a 0 in a cell. Hold on a minute. I track my time in hours, and if I put in 0.5 hours, it contains a 0, which means that it would reset my streak even though I put in time. And no, as far as I know, Google Sheets does not let me delete the 0 in front of the decimal. This isn't what I wanted, but I think it actually might be a blessing in disguise. Now, I have to study every day for at least an hour, because anything less than an hour would be 0 point something, and that would trigger the formula, which would cause my streak to break. Eliminating distractions. Phone. Have you ever been studying or generally being productive, and then you see a notification on your phone? You check it for just a quick second, and then you realize that you've somehow been browsing Instagram for 30 minutes. Over the course of the past decade, one object that has become the source of all distractions is a smartphone. All that time of mindlessly browsing social media and trying to kill time adds up without you even realizing it. If language learning is a form of studying, then how can I eliminate distractions and be more focused? Time tracker. As far as I know, both iOS and Android track the time you spend in every app, and you can view it in the settings. This is a fantastic starting spot to see what is eating up all your time. I used to spend 6 to 7 hours a day on my phone, but now I've cut it down to just 3 hours using the following methods. Scheduling. One of the ways to improve productivity is to block apps during certain times. This feature is built into both iOS and Android, and the purpose of it is to stop you from getting sucked into a wormhole by eliminating the problem at the root. If you don't know where to start, try blocking all your social media apps from 8 AM to 4 PM, or whenever you do your general work. Now, there is an alternative way to use this blocking feature, which is to block all apps during the night. I block almost all apps from 10 PM to 4 AM, meaning that my bedtime is consistent and it's hard for me to really stay up late. It also prevents me from looking at my phone in the middle of the night, which could disrupt my sleep. Delay. Screen Zen. The scheduling feature is great, but it's not the best for all types of app usages. What if I want to quickly respond to someone on social media while also mainly staying off the app? I came across this app called ScreenZen, and it uses this genius blocking system that I've never seen before. If I open a distracting app, it automatically redirects me to ScreenZen and forces me to wait a 5-second delay. Then, if I choose to open the app, it gives me a 15-minute window where I can use the app normally. After that time expires, the cycle starts again, where I have to wait a 5-second delay for a 15-minute access window. Of course, you can adjust these times to your liking, and I even like the option where it adds 1 second for every open that you do. This has made using my phone very annoying, and made me very resistant to checking my phone often. It's even gotten to a point where I'll get a message in Snapchat or Instagram, but I actually won't reply and open the app until hours or even a day later. ScreenZen has opened my eyes to how often I check my phone and how addicted I am to it. I've been using it for about 7 months now, and it has fundamentally changed the way that I use my phone. It's so hard to describe how much I recommend this app that I have to remind you that this isn't sponsored. This is the main way that I've gone from using my phone from 6 to 7 hours a day to just 3 hours a day. My only gripe is that there's a really easy loophole to cheat the system. Once your time expires, your 5-second delay only gets triggered if you open another app. If you stay within that app, then it won't kick you out. Hey, I'm editing this video right now and just now finding out that ScreenZen is not available on Android. They are apparently working on an Android release in the future though. Time limits. This leads perfectly into my next point, which is setting time limits for certain apps. In iOS and Android, you can set it so that, for example, you can use Instagram for a maximum of 15 minutes a day. This is an indirect fix for the loophole in ScreenZen, because you know that you can't stay within the app forever. The main problem I had was using Reddit too much on my phone, so I set it up so that I can only use Reddit for a maximum of 1 hour a day. It's like that thought experiment of if you had 24 hours left to live, then how would you spend it? Well, if you could only use a social media app for 1 hour a day, then I'm sure that you would use it differently and spend your time within the app more wisely. Eliminating distractions. Computer. We've covered the 3 main types of blockers: scheduling, delay, and time limits. Now it's time for their equivalent browser extensions. Time tracker. Stay free. First though, we need a way of tracking what websites you spend the most time on. You could just look at your browsing history, but seeing a definite number hits differently. I recommend installing Stay Free for both Chrome and Firefox, which tracks how much time you spend on any website that you visit. Scheduling. Distract Me Not. One of the best website blocking extensions that I found is called Distract Me Not, and it's for both Chrome and Firefox. It blocks websites and keywords on a schedule. I've tried about a dozen other different website blocking extensions, but as far as I know, this is the only one with an unlimited number of blockable websites, is flexible in terms of the scheduling, and is also free. Delay and time limit. Intention. When I first downloaded ScreenZen on my phone, I knew that I had to get an equivalent web browser extension. I've tried many similar types of extensions like Pause, but the problem is that once the time expires, it only kicks you out if you go to a new page or reload the page. The best alternative I found is called Intention for both Chrome and Firefox, and it works as both a delay and a time limit type of blocking extension. Upon entering a distracting site, a pop-up will appear asking you how long you want to spend on that site. What stops you from putting in an absurd time for the custom time feature is the time limit. Once your time runs out, a pop-up appears again showing you how many minutes of your life you've just wasted. And if automatic cooldowns are enabled, then you have to wait 30 seconds before starting another session. My setup for productivity. Okay, that was a lot of information, so what do I actually use? On my phone, I block almost all apps from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. ScreenZen is enabled for most apps with a 5-second delay time and a 15-minute time goal per pickup. Adding 1 second of delay for each open is enabled. For the Reddit app on my phone, I can only use it for a maximum of 1 hour a day. For my computer, I used to use Distract Me Not for blocking YouTube and chess until 5 p.m. every day, and I even experimented with only using YouTube and chess during the weekends. Despite this, from now on I think I'm only going to be using Intention with a 1 hour limit for YouTube and chess every day. Automatic cooldowns are enabled too. I use Distract Me Not for blocking all websites from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. every single day. I even set up my computer to automatically shut down at 10 p.m. every day. The instructions on how to do that for Windows are in the description. Personal accountability. The point of all these apps and extensions is to stop you from getting sucked into a wormhole by stopping you from even entering it in the first place. However, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. You can set up this elaborate system of blocking distractions, but at the end of the day, you can still just delete the app or remove the extension. And there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Well, maybe there's one thing. Personal accountability. However you track your progress, being the number of Anki cards you created, or your vocabulary list, or how many hours you log, have someone you know regularly check in on it. The fear of other people calling you a disappointment is more powerful than any of those blocker extensions could ever dream to be. Sleep. Sleep is something people probably often overlook, but it's very important in terms of getting the most out of your productivity time. I can personally tell you that when I get less than 8.5 hours of sleep, All I feel like doing is watching random YouTube videos and not being productive. I use FLux on my computer, which tints the screen more yellow during the evening, and it's supposed to help with all that blue light and stuff. I use a weighted blanket and sometimes even sleep with earplugs. The free app sleep cycle gives me a percentage in terms of how well I slept the previous night. You spend about a third of your life sleeping, so do some research and treat it seriously. Change takes time. Over the past couple months, I got into the cycle where in the morning I would try to be productive, and then at the end of the day, I would evaluate what went right and what went wrong. The next day, I would tweak my settings and gradually improve at it. Don't expect to get everything together in one day, because it took me months and I'm still improving at it. Just like recovering from an addiction, the first few days will be the hardest. And the first step to fixing your problem is by admitting that there's a problem in the first place. That's it for this video. I'm interested in hearing what tools and methods you use for productivity, so comment those below. Like it if you liked it, and comment why if you disliked it. If you really liked it, consider subscribing and hit the bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. See you guys in the next video. If an Anki streak made me use this program every day, then surely a streak formula for Google Streaks. Google Streaks. I block almost all apps from 10 p.m.